Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about hormones for males, female transsexuals. Now, for me, let me just say from the beginning, this is just my personal opinion, and I'm not a doctor, and I don't know any statistics about any of this stuff. I'm just giving you my experiences about taking hormones myself and my opinions on hormones. I'm not suggesting that anyone follow what I do or take my advice as factual in any way. For any of that, you should consult a doctor. I'm just giving you my opinions on it. And it'd be great to hear some of your opinions too. So, as I've said before, I've been living full time as a woman for almost 20 years now. And before I took any hormones, before I transitioned and stuff, just before I was just starting to transition, again, because I grew up in a period with no internet and no YouTube and all those kind of things, my views on what hormones did was, well, I kind of just didn't know anything about it. So in my head, hormones would make my voice higher, make me grow really big boobs, and just basically turn me into a woman without any work. That was kind of my idea of what was going to happen. And so I was in for a huge shock when I realised that that wasn't the case at all. Now, once I transitioned and I went to see my psychiatrist and my gender doctor, as it were, I did all this privately. I didn't go through the NHS. Of course, there's nothing wrong with doing it through the NHS. This was just my choice to go private. And I was put on hormones. I was put on Premarin. I think it was 6 pills a day, and they were quite strong. And my initial reaction to hormones were, because in my mindset I was thinking, oh great, I'm on hormones now. This is going to, rectify some of the thoughts I have in my head, and make me more feminine and all that kind of stuff. My experience of hormones were that they made me extremely emotional, in all aspects of the word. So when I was upset, I was extremely upset. When I was angry, I was extremely angry. When I was happy, I was extremely happy. Now, for me, I couldn't cope with that kind of over-the-top emotion, because I'm generally quite a well-rounded person, I like to think. But the hormones just made me completely crazy. And I felt it as well. I could feel it building up in my body. And also, they made me gain so much weight. Not just because I was taking them, but because I was just hungry all the time. I was eating all the time. And, for me, that just wasn't something that I wanted. I was struggling with my weight at the time anyway. And this just kind of compounded it and made it even worse. So, and the thing also as well, as far as how your mental state is and stuff, like at the time, I think, as all girls do, hormones are kind of the answer to our prayers, because, it's going to change, we all think it's going to change us so much. And I'm sure the thing with hormones is that they work great for some people and they don't work for other people. And for me personally, I've never really got on with taking hormones. So, and so I don't take them. I haven't taken them I took them for about 2 or maybe 3 years when I first started transitioning. And then I decided to come off them because I felt crazy on them. I felt like I wasn't myself. And I have a very strong sense of self. And I've always known that I was female since I was 5. And so I didn't need pills to make me feel more feminine, because I already do, and I still do feel completely feminine and female, and I don't need those pills. Everything else that I wanted to change about myself, I did through surgery, because for me they were a bit more of a permanent effect, which is what I wanted. And also, I've heard a lot of stories about and just generally of taking tablets all the time. It's not good for your body to continually keep taking tablets, and there are some health risks attached to taking hormones for your whole life. Now, I understand that some people, want to take them, and some people feel they need to take them. I have lots of friends who, you know, always say to me, "Oh, I don't feel myself without my hormones," and I get that. I completely get that. But for me, they just did not work for me. Now I come under fire from a lot of other trans women in the past, saying to me, "Oh, well, if you don't take hormones, then you're not trans," and which is ridiculous, really, because, you know, being trans is something that you're born with and it's in your head. You know, being trans, it has nothing to do with how much surgery you have, how many hormones you take. You know, I'm sure there's thousands more trans. Remember, I'm just talking about trans women here. Of course, there's lots of female to male trans, but I'm just talking about male to female trans. I'm sure there's loads more trans women out there who haven't transitioned because they're too scared, or they can't because of their family, or for whatever reason. Um, but just because they haven't had any surgery or anything doesn't make them any less trans. You know, again, it's this thing that we all fall into of society. You know, expect we all have to be a certain way, and we're all expected to be a certain way to be feminine or to be female. And I just think it's so annoying that we can't just accept people for how they portray themselves as, or if they say to you, "Well, I'm trans," that should be enough, and you should accept them as that, you know. But of course, everything is very visual, and so, you know, without if we're not looking a certain way, then we can't be accepted by everybody else. It seems, because they expect us to act and look a certain way. Also, then there's the other case of, you know, self-prescribing, which I think, now I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that I hadn't done that, because I did. To a certain extent, before I got my proper hormones through my doctor and stuff, I did go through probably 6 months beforehand of ordering my own hormones, which is really not a good thing to do. Now, I really understand that some people have no choice. Some people might not even live in a country where they're able to get it through a doctor or anything like that. So I do get that. I just can't condone it, obviously, because it's really dangerous to put things into your body without having checkups by a doctor and things like that. So I'm not saying anything against it, because I've done it myself, and I would be extremely hypocritical to tell people that they shouldn't be doing it. I'm just saying that it is dangerous, and that, you know, you are taking a chance by doing that. Um, so the thing with hormones is that I just think it is a personal choice. I mean, I understand, like, things have changed a lot. I mean, when I was younger, you know, when you had to go to see a gender specialist and stuff, you know, I had to have a certificate to even get my breasts done by my surgeon in this country, because he wouldn't do anything unless he had documentation that stated from a psychiatrist that I was trans, so that I couldn't back out or say, "Oh, I didn't want this surgery. I made a mistake. You know, you've cut me up," and, you know, to protect himself. Now, I don't know if that's still the case now, but it was when I was younger. And the same thing with when you go and see a gender specialist. You had to go on hormones. You had to be going down the route of becoming post-op. You had to be having post-op surgery to be given any of these things, and they were extremely critical of you and how you looked, and things like that. You know, it was so difficult, especially when at the time, you know, these people, these straight or male or female doctors were telling you how you should be living your life, and what you had to do in order to get any of the help that you wanted, even though these people are not trans themselves, and however educated you are. I still think that unless you are from that world, or you live with someone from that world, you don't really understand enough to really understand how we feel and what we're going through. So I think, you know, things have changed a lot now, and we have a lot of trans doctors and therapists and psychiatrists now in those kinds of fields, which is so much better, because, you know, getting having news that is not maybe kind of what you want to hear. You know, maybe your transition is being slowed down, or it's not going as fast as you want it. It's so much. I think it's a lot easier to take those kind of rejections, as it were, from someone from our own community, as opposed to someone who it just feels is in charge of your progression in life, and they're not even from the trans community. You know, so I think things have changed a lot now. But yeah, so those are my views on hormones. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with them at all. I think they're great. Um, they just didn't work for me, and for me the surgery route was the better option for me. I think it depends on your state of mind. Now, I'm not saying that I'm more trans than somebody else because I don't need hormones to make me feel feminine. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that for me, my sense of self was so strong anyway, that taking hormones after I did try using them, I found that they weren't for me. It wasn't something that I was comfortable using, and they actually made me feel worse. And not taking them, I feel myself and I feel the right person I'm supposed to be. So, yeah, those are my views on hormones. Again, if there's anything else you'd like me to talk about or discuss, then send me a message in the comments below, and I will definitely get back to you. I reply to everybody. And I post videos every Sunday and every Wednesday. So until next time, take care, lots of love. See you soon.